For this lesson, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a regular pencil, a kneaded eraser, a micron pen, and a Sharpie. And you're also going to need to find the watercolor paper and a larger size watercolor paper. And you'll see that the watercolor paper has what's called a tooth or texture. And you're going to want to make sure that you're on the side of the watercolor that has the texture. Okay, so for this drawing though, we're going to create a drawing and we should already have our sketches created. So the sketches came earlier and we had two sketches. We had a dominant first initial and then middle last, and we had a dominant last initial um, with the first and last. And we're going to be choosing the best composition, and also not just the composition, but we're going to choose the best parts of these drawings to create our final drawing that we're going to later put watercolor onto. All right, so I'm going to go starting you're going to start with pencil. You're going to draw lightly because eventually we will need to get rid of all of this pencil. And between these two, there are some things that I really like. I really like the shape of this J. I really like um, the music flowing behind. I really like the beach in this one more than I like how I use the end zones here. So I'm actually going to take some parts of each drawing and integrate them together to make a final drawing on here. I want to think about filling this page. And for me, it doesn't matter if you go vertically on your page or if you turn it sideways, whichever way you believe will fit better. And I'm going to go vertically. First I'm going to establish lightly where I'm going to put my beach. Then I'm going to put my letters. So I love this J, but I'm going to put the P as the dominant, my last initial. So I'm sketching just lightly to put my letters on here for now. And I'm going to make this P big because I want it to fill this space. I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of empty background space later. So I'm going to sketch my P onto here. And I'm going to make this thicker. I'm just doing this lightly. Eventually, I'm going to get rid of all this pencil, but I'm going to use the J shape from this one. So my J is going to sit down here. I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to use the style. I don't want to see any boring stick letters. So if you haven't yet looked up letters online and made some interesting letters, you should do that before you get to drawing this. All right, so there's my J. And I really like the music that flows out of the top of this P. So I'm going to be putting the musical lines here. And I'm going to make it look like it flows behind. So it's going to carry through. Maybe it'll go right into the sand here. So I'm going to pull through, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are going to pull through into here. And I think there's 5 lines in music, so I'm going to add one more. Oops, we'll pull through here. So it all ends in this point in the sand. And I want to put something in the sand here where this is ending. Something, maybe even like my cell phone, because I often listen to music on my cell phone. So I'm going to put that like it's laying in the sand here. And anytime I'm erasing on this paper, I want to use my kneaded eraser because I want to make sure that I don't abrade the paper. So, okay, here's my sketch. I'm going to put all of my parts onto it. My G, I'm going to actually fit into this space here. And, okay, I'm going to use this part of my letter. I'm going to put, actually, I'm going to put some waves, like ocean waves, wrapping around this part of my P. And I'm going to put my Steeler diamonds. I like that coming down here. So 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do sort of just a design here to break up the space. And it's going to lead to this bottom part where I'm going to put a football right here. I don't like it going that way. I think I'll turn it up on its side. So anytime, again, I'm erasing, I'm always erasing with the kneaded eraser so I'm not damaging my paper. And you see how light I'm drawing, so I'm trying to go lightly at first as I start to establish where stuff's going to go. And I'm not afraid to change my mind. So if I'm drawing lightly enough and I'm like, oh, I don't really like that, I'm going to change my mind. So I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to use my paintbrush here because I love to draw and paint. And I'm going to have my tree, my palm tree that I love to go to the beach here coming out of my paintbrush. I'm going to put the paw prints from my pets right here. So I'm just building, and I might have to actually look how I want this to be. I don't really like how that looks. Something more like this. And then, oh yeah, that's it. I just had it upside down. So I'm going to give some paw prints here. I'm going to put 3, one for each of my puppies that I have right now, because they're consuming a lot of my life and they're important to me. And see, I'm going to do my mom's cancer ribbon. I'm going to put that here into this space. And again, I'm not doing anything that is a stick drawing. I'm adding some thickness to it in the space that's here. I'm going to put my dad's saw blade. Now, if I want this to truly be round, I'm going to find something before I put it in here in marker, and I'm going to draw it truly round so that, but I'm just mapping out lightly where stuff goes. If I want something to be really straight, I'm going to use a ruler. So if I want the side of my letter P to be really straight, I'm going to use a ruler. I don't, because I want mine to look curved and more fluid. I am going to put, so I should have about there were 3 symbols in each of my sections. So when I originally came up with my ideas, there's 3 symbols in each of these sections and then my letters. So I should end up with about 12 symbolic representations of myself and my letters. So I have my letters and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've got to get a couple more on here. I'm going to put my book in here. I'm going to put my book probably down. Oh, now that would have been cool to put my book here where the music comes out. I'm actually going to put down here, I am going to put my book. I'm going to put it right like this, sort of off angled to the side. I love to read, so I'm going to put this. It's important that I show. Like, that's one of the things I love. I wanted to get a puzzle piece in here because I love to make puzzles and do puzzles with my family. I'm going to put the puzzle piece maybe in my letter, like right here in the top of my letter. And as I'm building this, I'm not trying to make all of my pieces like float around. I'm trying to make them all become a part of each other. Okay, so I still have, oh, I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put my birth date. And first I'm going to write it in here in sort of light stick letters. Then I'm going to build around it so it's not in stick letters. But I want to map out like where I want it to go and how much space I want it to take up. Okay, so, and then I'm gonna need to get my diamond ring. And so maybe what I'm gonna do is just put, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do like it's sitting behind this. So right here, I'm gonna put my ring, and I'm probably gonna do the diamond right here. Sorry about that, doggies. And then, so I've got my diamond. I need my reduce, reuse, and recycle. So I'm gonna maybe put that into this space, and it's basically a triangle first, and then I'll build some arrows on it. Okay, so I have my layout, and I have the right number of symbols now on it, and I'm going to start by doing this. Things that I want to be bold, I'm going to trace with my Sharpie, my large Sharpie. So I want my letters to be bold and stand out. That I know for sure. And I'm going to trace over them. If I miss, I'm not going to like worry too much. I'm just going to adapt as I go. So if I miss a line with this, I'm going to use whatever line I end up with, and I'm just going to adapt it as I go. Okay, so there's my J. I need to do the inside of my G. So here's now. I could do more if I have other things that I want to be bold, but I really want those to stand out as my bold thing. So I'm going to actually do the rest of this in micron. And you're going to trace over. So I'm going to make it look like the sand is passing behind here. I'm going to stop there. And I'm going to start tracing over everything. And if there's any like textural things I want to add, like so in the brush here that's going to become my tree, I'm going to add some, like texture so it looks like the base of a palm tree. I'm going to add those little details with this micron. And the nice thing about a micron is that it is going to stay nice and black. When I paint on top of it, it is not going to bleed or smudge when I paint on top of it. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to trace over everything and add your detail. And I'm not going to do that for this video. You don't need to watch me trace everything, but you're going to trace over everything. If you have large areas that are totally empty, you may want to come in here and add some detail, but don't make it too tiny because we're going to be watercolor painting in these spaces, and we want to not have anything that's like a micro space for us to paint. And that is it. So once you have everything traced, now I haven't finished tracing, but you need to trace everything. You're then going to come in with your kneaded eraser, and you're going to erase away all that pencil. And so you should have a very clean black and white drawing when you're done, and then you're ready for the next step. And we meet next time.